Hi, and welcome to UTS Libraries video on an introduction to EndNote 21 for Mac. In today's video, we will take you through what EndNote is, the layout of EndNote, how to put references into EndNote, how to take those references out of EndNote and put them in Word. And finally, we will touch on EndNote Online and also working with Word Online using EndNote Online. And there's a little bit of fine detail in there as well, but they're the main things we're going to address today. Pardon me. Okay, so I'm going to get going and share my screen. So first thing to note is that you can download EndNote from the UTS Library web page. If you mouse over referencing and then go to EndNote, there's an option to download EndNote for Mac here. There is also a EndNote study guide that you can access from this page, which can be quite useful. I might open that up in case I need to refer to it later on today. In addition to the other things on this page, there's also a bespoke APA 7th style file here that you can download if you want to. APA 7th does come built into EndNote. However, our bespoke APA 7th style guide contains more reference types than the default. So I might come back and touch on what that means in a little bit more detail later. But hopefully once you've been to this page, you can get EndNote onto your computer, and that's the main thing. If I then go to EndNote 21 and choose File New, we will be able to begin by starting from scratch with a brand new library. So I might call this one Astronomy and Cosmology, because that's where I'll be downloading a couple of references from the topic area of astronomy and cosmology today. Okay, so I'll just press save. And now we have a EndNote library up and running. Pardon me, I've been sick a bit lately, but I am better now. So don't worry, I'm not going to make you ill through the internet here. What we're looking at here is EndNote, the software. Before I get into the layout of EndNote, the software, let me just sort of reiterate what it does. EndNote is a software where you can input references into it by keying them in manually or by downloading from off the internet, and we'll do both of those things today. Once they live in here, you can add things like PDFs to the references if you have them, and most crucially, you can insert them into your writing, and you can do this according to lots of different referencing styles. And this ability to take raw data about a citation, such as, the title and the author and the year, and style it in lots of different referencing styles is the thing that makes EndNote really useful. So this is just an introductory class today. We won't touch on absolutely everything you can do with EndNote, obviously, but we will touch on the most important things. And with that in mind, let's have a look at this left-hand column here. This is like a filing system for the references you're going to place in your library. There's a thing here called All References, which will unsurprisingly display all of your references. There's also things like the trash if you delete a reference, and then there's things like the recently added references and unfiled. And unfiled is a category that all of your references will go into unless you assign them to a group. We'll touch on groups a little bit later. There's other things here that we will touch on today, such as my tags. The other things are not really part of the purview of today's things, such as sharing groups and using the find full text function in EndNote. However, if I go back to this EndNote library page and then indicate this study guide will take you to this thing, which does look a lot like the library's webpage, but is actually a guide filled with information about EndNote that we created. And the things that aren't in today's classes will be in here, things like finding full text and sharing libraries and stuff like that. Okay, so back to EndNote. In the middle here, we have where the references go. We'll add them very shortly, and when they do go in, they will be visible here. There's also a search mode up here that you can use to find references according to various specs. It could be the name of an author, the name of a title, or it could be even notes that you might make about that reference, or even words in the PDF you might attach to the reference. So we'll try and show you that a bit later on. There are also a variety of buttons here, some of which are grayed out and some of which aren't. For the purposes of today's class, the only one we'll be using is this one, which is to make a new reference from scratch. Finally, we have this right-hand column, it performs a few different functions, but it basically will display information about any given citation that you've put into the library. So until we have a citation in here, showing this right-hand column is not very useful. So what we'll do now is we'll go to the library's website to start with, and we'll begin by downloading some references. So if I go back to the library's homepage here and search for something, I'm going to search for active galactic nuclei. I'm doing some space research today. Got to spell it right. We can download books and references from the library catalog. And I'm going to show you for my first example, downloading a book citation. So here is one, Physics and Evolution of Active Galactic Nuclei. When you click on the name of a book, you'll see a bunch of options that appear under this Cite and Save heading, one of which is to export RIS. And this is the button we'll want to press to send this reference to EndNote. So if I press this little button, you'll notice that this area down here changes and a download option becomes available. So if I click that, something will go into my downloads folder. And when I click that, something magical will happen in EndNote. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to show me straight away what's happening, but if I go over to EndNote, here it is. So you can see that we have one imported reference, and there it is there, and Netzer Haggai, 2013, The Physics and Evolution of Active Galactic Nuclei. You'll also note that now that this reference is in here, this right-hand column has populated itself. So there's a couple of things to note here. Here is some information that has come down from the catalog. Underneath this is a preview of what the reference looks like according to my favorite referencing style. And just above this is what my favorite referencing style is. And in this case, it's APA 7th. When you first download EndNote, it may not be set to APA 7th. It's probably going to be set to something like annotated. And if you choose annotated, you'll notice that the preview down here changes so that the reference matches that citation style. However, if you were to come in here and use this drop down, APA 7th should be there from the very beginning. If you want to select another style, there is a whole table of styles, additional styles, thousands of them in this list here. So if the one you want is not part of the default at the start, you can go up here to select another style, and hopefully you'll be able to find it in here. And if you do say want one, BMC ophthalmology, for example, which is a lot of these styles are journal styles, you can go there and press choose, click on it and press choose. And then you can see we have this style available to us now, and it can output the citation in that way. Now, just to add and reiterate that the UTS library has a bespoke APA 7th style, and that if you do download that, you can use the EndNote study guide, which is accessible from the EndNote page in the library's website, to access this document that tells you how to create references manually using this style. So we've created a PDF guide to show you how to key in APA 7th references. Now, this is using, again, the bespoke APA 7th UTS style, which adds more reference types to the generic APA 7th style, things like generative AI or forum post. So if you click on any one of these reference types, it will tell you how to key them in, which reference type to select, when you key them in, and which fields to populate so that you get a citation that looks like it does on the left. However, we're not going to be doing any really exotic referencing today. We'll just do a book, a journal article, and a website. So I'm very happy to stay with the regular APA 7th that comes with EndNote. Okay, so the other things to show you are these three tabs up here. We're in summary mode. If we move to edit, we get an editable table of fields here that we can change if we care to. And what is a good idea to do when you download any citation from off the internet is to see how good that citation looks in that style. Because a lot of the time, the information that will come down from a Google Scholar or a library database or the library catalog will be flawed in some way. The most common way in which it might be flawed is that the casing of the titles might not be correct. That's something that is very hard to change when you download a a citation, it's not going to be able to correct that very well. The other thing that you might notice is that there might be extraneous information in the reference, especially when you're downloading books from the library catalogue. It will tend to take information such as this is the first edition of the book, and it will put it in the reference. But if you're a big APA 7th boffin, you might know that this sort of area here where the edition number goes is only used for editions 2 and above. So let's say we want to remove this first edition information from this reference to make it look more nice. We could go over to edit, then we can scroll down to where this little bit of information is that says it's the first edition, delete that, and then press save. Now, if I go back to my summary, that information will be gone and the reference looks a little bit nicer. Apart from that, this book citation looks okay. There is a third option over here for PDF, and you can attach a PDF to a citation. However, this is a whole book, so it's unlikely we'll be able to get the whole book as a PDF to download. But what I'll do now is I'll go to Google Scholar, I'll get a journal article reference, and then I should be able to attach the PDF of that. So let's head over to Google Scholar. And we're going to be searching for active galactic nuclei as well. All right, we're back. I think my whole Chrome just crashed there. So apologies for that, but hopefully I've edited out all the dead air. So now what I'm going to do is go for active galactic nuclei. And we're going to download a journal article. This is a journal article up here, Active Galactic Nuclei, What's in a Name, from the Astronomy and Something Something Journal, published by Springer in 2017. To download this thing, you would click the little cite button underneath the reference, and then you've got two options that will work with EndNote or RefMan. From my experience, they both work, but RefMan tends to work a little bit better because the data you get downloaded to your EndNote is a little bit more accurate. And I actually tested this particular citation with both, and they're very similar, but RefMan handles the author's initials just that slight bit better. So I'm going to choose RefMan. So it put something in my little downloads folder. I clicked on it. And now if I go back over to EndNote, there it is there, Padavani and more. Active galactic nuclei, what's in a name. So let's have a little bit of a look down here and see if this reference looks all right. We've got lots of authors, active galactic nuclei, what's in a name, the Astronomy and Physics Review 25/191. So my APA sensors are telling me that this is pretty good. However, there's minor details in here, such as the first word after a colon has not been capitalized. That's something you would normally do in APA, so I'll go and fix that up. And it's possible for a 2017 paper that we might be missing a DOI number. And it's a good idea to put this DOI number in if you can get it, because then it will allow you to do things like find reference updates. The DOI number is like a web address that will allow this to sort of get cross-checked. It's also good if you want to run the find full text function later on. Not part of the purview of this class, but an important thing to bear in mind. So what I'm going to do, this will be a twofold sort of thing. I'm going to go over to Google Scholar and I'm going to try and get the actual PDF so I can attach it to the reference. And in doing so, I'm going to try and get the the DOI number as well and add it to the reference. So I've got this find full text function enabled in Google Scholar, and I can download the PDF from this. Let's do a little bit of signing in action here. Okay, so now we do have at the top here a DOI number. So what I'm going to do is download this to my computer, and then I can attach it and maybe grab the DOI number as well. So I'm going to download it. It's called SS00159, which is a bit weird, and you could change that if you wanted to, but that's fine for just the purposes of this demonstration. I'll just save that. Then I'm going to go back over to EndNote and go over to this PDF. This is the citation I want to attach the PDF to. It's important to get the right one. And then I'm going to go over to PDF and click this Attach PDF option. And this will let me look for the PDF. And there it is, SS00159. So when I've attached it, you can see here that it is visible from within EndNote. You can even expand this if you like to. Oops, I've expanded the wrong thing. You can expand this if you like to. Maybe it's this one. Aha. So this little button here will expand the PDF. I tried to press this button, but it actually went into edit mode, which confused me. So what I'm going to do here is grab this DOI number, copy it, and then I'm going to close this down. Before I do, there are some annotation functions you have from within here. You can make little notes, sticky notes and stuff like that, and that can be useful. And I'll show you why in just a minute. But the first thing I'm going to do is add this DI number to the reference. So having copied that, I'm going to go into edit mode here, go down to the DOI, paste it in here, and press save. Now, some reference types, trying to be friendly and helpful, will add the DOI prefix to the reference when they style it. So let's just see if we've got one or two prefixes here. We've got https://doi.org and then https://doi.org. So we've done the right thing and put in all of this information. However, the citation itself is like the citation style is adding this bit anyway. So what we're going to do is come and delete this little bit out of this and then press save. And then if I go back over to the summary one more time, now it looks better. https://doi.org, blah, 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 blah. Now that you've got this DOI number, you can also do a thing called find reference updates, which will use the DOI number to see if it can find missing bits of the reference that might have not come down from Google Scholar. So if you right click on any given reference and then scroll down here to find reference updates, it will go and do its magic. Okay, so you can see here that one of the things it's managed to add is an issue number, which is very useful. So what we can do, I mean, there's obviously lots of good information already there, but we can just choose update empty fields, which should move this issue number along. Update empty fields, everything is up to date. And now when we look down at this, hang on a sec, if I just get out of here and then come back again, maybe. There we go. Yes, and I look at it again, this little one for the first one edition, issue number 1 has been added in here. So we've got volume 25, issue 1. And so this reference now looks absolutely perfect. We also have a PDF here. So one of the things that I wanted to show you is how the search mode, which is up here, can be used to actually find words that exist in the PDF, not just the fields that make up the reference, but the PDF itself. So let me show you what I mean. If I blow this up and I choose a word like phenomenology, it's kind of a big word, isn't it? Let's try flavors instead, just so I don't have to do so much typing. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to this search mode. So I've got all my references here, Netzer and Padavani. But I'm going to do an advanced search up here. And I'm going to use this table of options up here to not look for an author, but look for this, a word that could appear in any field of the reference itself, or the PDF, or even sticky notes we make in the PDF. So if I look for the word flavor here, it was actually flavors, I think, but I think either way it should work. And I press search. What it should do is remove Netzer from the results and just show me Padavani, because it's the only one that has the word flavors in its reference or in the PDF that comes with it. There you go. You'll also note that over here, there's a little paperclip icon, which indicates that I have an attachment. Up here as well, as we've been doing our work, it's got the most recently imported reference, which was Padavani, the recently added references, which is both of them, and they're both unfiled. What we could do at this time is make a group. Say we've got, an aspect of our research is active galactic nuclei, but it's not the only aspect of our research. We can make a group to keep all of those sorts of common references together. This is a good idea because generally having one reference library like astronomy and cosmology is for me is a good idea for most work, because if you start using more than one library in the same document, it's going to cause the document to have a lot of problems. So generally one library is good, but you can divide up your work within that one library into different groups. So it could be different university assignments or different themes within a piece of research. The one exception to that would be is if you're doing a systematic review, because all of the numbers of the things you download in the systematic review have to be sort of preserved and not sort of messed up by other citation numbers and counts like that. So if you're doing a systematic review, make a library specifically for that, but otherwise one library to rule them all. Okay, so let's say I wanted to make a group for these two references called active galactic nuclei. What I could do is right-click where it says My Groups and then create a group. And for that, press enter, and then you have a group. Then, if I get rid of my search here, clear search, I can go back to both these references, select them using Shift and click, and then I can right-click and add references to the name of the group I've created. And now if I go over here, I have active galactic nuclei group with 2 references in it. They're the only 2 references I have right now, but you see the point. Okay. If you don't want to see all of this text up here anymore, you can press simple search as well. Also, you can sort of finger scrolls left and right across this reference here too, and you can even sort of change the width of these boundaries if you like. So just so I'd point that out, whatever's most convenient for you to look at. Alrighty, I'm going to add one more reference to these 2, which is a web page reference that I'm going to create myself. So if I want to make a reference from a blank slate, I can do that using this little paper clipboard icon up here. Press that and you have a blank slate with which to populate with information. This is going to be useful for things like websites because websites don't usually have a download citation button in the same way books and journal articles found in the library catalog or library databases like Scopus or Google Scholar have. So let's say I want to enter a web page. The first thing I would do is make this blank form and then choose web page as my reference type. That will make sure the reference looks as it should for APA 7th web pages. Then I'm going to go over to a web page that I had found previously. This one's not about active galactic nuclei, although it is still about space. It's called Population 3 Stars. So let's just start cutting and pasting information from this page. We've got the name of the page. We can go over to EndNote and paste that in. That would go in title. We have got a date, March 18, 2018. So actually, you wouldn't want to write that in the way it's written here. You would want to write that like this. We can still use all of that information, but it would be written down like this, 2018, comma, March, write out the full name of the month, 18. For some reference types that aren't web pages, you won't need the month and the day, but for web pages, it's nice. Then we have author. This has a human being author. There he is there, Dae-Jin Ko. I hope I've said his name correctly. So what you would want to do here is take this name, but you want to actually invert it so that the surname came first. I'll show you what I mean. So if I copy this and go over here, you would want to generally, I mean, there's more than one way to do this, but this is the best way, I think, is to go and style it so that it's surname, comma, first name, and take any space bars out at the end of the name that you don't want, because otherwise the space bars will go in the reference. Pardon me. So then there's 2 more things that you would have to make a web page reference for APA 7th, the name of the website, which would go in publisher, and the URL. So URL I'll grab because that'll be nice and easy. Stanford, very nice. Go down a little bit here, URL, paste that in. And then we want the name of the website itself, which is something quite long and hard to copy, the Kavli Institute for Particle Astrophysics and Cosmology. I'll try and remember all that. Kavli Institute Particle Physics and Cosmology. Now, you'll notice that this doesn't have all capitalized words, although the universe is capitalized. I'm not sure if the universe is always capitalized. I might actually decapitalize it. I don't think you would capitalize the word universe. But that's the first word of the paper. That's the first word after a colon, so they are capitalized. This is the name of a web page. It's like a corporate entity, so you do actually capitalize all the big words. Press save, close this window, and then we can check out the reference and see if it looks nice. Co.D, 2018, March 18, population 3 stars, the universe's ultimate reclusive pop stars, Kavli Institute for Particle Physics and Cosmology, and the URL. And again, there is a guide on our EndNote study guide, which is available from the EndNote page on the library's website, that will tell you how to key all that stuff in manually. Rightio. So now what I might do is just add one more little thing, and then we can start playing around with Word. And I might need a blank Word document, but we'll sort that out in a sec. So as well as groups, there is a thing called tags. So tags are very much like group, only they have colorful tags that come along with them. And so when you assign a reference to a tag, it'll end up with like a little colorful chip next to it. I'll show you what I mean. So we've downloaded a reference recently about population 3 stars, which are very old stars in the universe. If we add a tag and call it that, we can give it a tag. And because population 3 stars have very high redshift, I might give it a red tag and then press create. So now we have this red thing, population 3 stars. If I go over here, you can grab this information here, or the citation itself, and you can drag it over to tags and let it go. And now you've got this. And you'll notice that, yes, there's a little red chip that will come at the end of the title. The difference between groups and tags isn't much, but one of them is that with groups, you can make a group set, which is like a heading, and then it has subgroups. You can't really do that with tags. There's other sort of more exotic things like smart groups, which I won't go into today, but they sort of allow you to auto-assign references that come into your library to a group based on some criteria you create. Again, tags aren't going to be able to do that. Pardon me. Still getting better after having a cold. All right, so now let's go along to Word. Now this is where it gets fun. So what I'm going to do is start a blank document here. So when you download EndNote, without you having to do too much, it will insert a toolbar into Word for you, and it looks a little something like this. Now, there are lots of options, as you can see, on this toolbar, and more than we can show you all today. But what is important is that we show you the most important things, and let's touch on them now. So if we're writing an imaginary piece of academic literature, be that an assessment or a paper or a PhD or whatever, we're writing along until we need to cite someone. Now, the easiest way, there's more than one way, but the easiest way to go and find a citation and put it into your reference list and your in-text citation at the same time is to go up here to this little icon up here with the quote mark and the magnifying glass. And then you can use a term to find a reference. So here's population 3 has just magically come up for me. But if I wrote active for active galactic nuclei instead, then the citations that have that word in it would appear. Let's say I wanted to put in NETSA. I would just click on NETSA, so it goes blue, and then press insert. There we go. And then we get an in-text reference and a reference list. If I wanted to put in the other person, let's say I was writing this, Padovani says, Now, we will need to put in the citation. So I would go, okay, let's insert a citation and choose Padovani and insert. So you'll notice that it's added this to the reference list. It all looks really nice. But because I've used what's called a narrative citation, where I've already used Padovani's name, I probably don't want this Padovani et al. Over here, although I would want it in here. Padovani et al. Says. So now what we can do is take the Padovani et al. Part out of this in-text citation. You might be thinking, well, if it's going to be like that, why don't I just write Padovani et al. 2017 myself? And the reason is because it won't create the reference list entry for you. So that's the real bonus. You can then use the edit and manage citation option up here in EndNote or in the toolbar in Word for EndNote to exclude the author. So if I use this format and then choose exclude author and then press OK, we'll get Padovani et al. 2017 says. Now, if Padovani was saying something and we were quoting them, we would be obliged to put in the page number of the quote as well. So you would go up here again to edit and manage citations and put the page number of the quote in, say page 7. And it will do all that for you. You need to use this option to insert things like page numbers because EndNote will not allow you really to mess around with the text in here too much. So if you start trying to add a page number in there yourself, it won't last very long and eventually it will delete itself. So this is the way to do that. Let's just say for argument's sake that I go and put two citations in the same set of brackets. This is something that you need to do in this way. You click on it so that it's highlighted, and then you go up here and add the second one. And you'll notice that it puts the semicolons between them because that's the way things are styled in APA 7th. Finally, if you wanted to remove one, again, in the same way that it's not good to be like adding page numbers and stuff in here yourself, just by writing in there, it's not good to be going in here and trying to delete one of these citations yourself because eventually it will just come back again. To remove a citation from an in-text reference, to remove an in-text reference from your writing, the best and most reliable way to do it is to click on the in-text reference and then go to Edit and Manage Citations again. Now you can choose the one you want to remove, let's say Netzer, or no, let's choose Padavanik because we've already cited that person elsewhere. And then you can use this little drop-down arrow to remove the citation this way. This is actually a neater and more reliable way to be removing references from your Word. There is also the option here for you to configure your bibliography. And when you do choose this configure your bibliography option, there is a layout option that will let you change the font of your reference list, the name of your reference list, the size of the font in your reference list, and so on. So if I choose Apple Chancery, for example, my reference list is going to go into this very fancy script sort of font, which you probably don't want, but it shows you what you can do. All right. Let me just check I haven't forgotten to tell you anything important. No, I think that's most of it. So now we've only got two more things to show you, one of which is EndNote Online, and then we've got EndNote for Word Online, which involves EndNote Online as well. So EndNote Online is a web-driven version of your reference library that is useful for moving references around between different computers and different desktop library situations. It's also good for using things like EndNote for Word Online. And EndNote for Word Online is handy because you can collaborate on a document with someone else. And even if you don't have the same EndNote library, you can both contribute references to this EndNote Online document and sort of work on it at the same time. And this is new functionality that didn't exist in EndNote 20 or previous. So to get EndNote Online, it's like you were signing up for an email account. You go to Clarivate's webpage that you can see here. So you can just Google EndNote Online or EndNote Web and find this page. Then there's a register option. And when you register, you're going to create an email address and a password. And when you do that, you can log into EndNote Online. So you would go and put the password you created and the email address you were using in there. And then if you've got EndNote 21, you will arrive at this interface. Now, what I need to do is to sync this EndNote library with the desktop library I've been creating today and using today so that when they're synced, the three references I've created today will appear in this online form. So that's what I'm going to have to go and do now. All right. So to sync, once you've created an EndNote Online account, go to your desktop library and go to EndNote 21 and then go to Settings. Within here is a sync option. So you go down and click sync. Then you're going to need to go over here and you're going to need to put in the name of the password that you created, which I changed recently. So I'll change this and then I'll press Enable Sync. Oh, try it one more time. Oh, that looks better. Okay, and then save. And then you can close this down. Now what will happen is if I go up to where it says sync configuration here, it will say you already have a sync library. If you choose this option, you will merge with your other library. I don't really want to do that, but I don't really have any choice at this point. So I'm going to press sync. All right. Yeah, there we go. So sorry, I was a couple of different steps there I had to complete. I'll just go touch on this again. If I go over here, once you've set up sync by going to settings and put in the right details, then you want to go over here to sync status and press this little blue sync button that appears over here. And you can see now that it's sort of doing all of this work in the background. And when that work has been completed, when you go over here, you can see that the group I made is there. The 3 references I've made are there. Now, I'm going to go over to Word Online. When you're in Word Online, there is a toolbar for EndNote that you can create and add here as well. I think you need to go to File, Get Add-ins to add this EndNote add-in. So there it is there because I've already found it before. But if I don't already have it as something I can choose, I'd have to go down to Manage My Add-ins. Aha. So yeah, it's a little bit different on a Mac to what it is on the PC. But I clicked on the store thing and now I can write EndNote. And that would be it. And I would add it like that. Once it's added, you can then turn it on by going to Get Add-ins and then clicking this fella. Okay, and then it appears over here. EndNote 21 site while you write. Get started. Cool. I'm going to have to put in all this information again. And once it's all set up, it's going to work a lot like it did for the desktop version. Let me make this a little bit bigger. It's a bit weird looking now, isn't it? Okay. So let's just show you how to put a reference in, blah, 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 blah. And then you would choose, say, Padavani and insert citation. You'll notice that it's all sort of looks a bit different to what it would normally look like in APA, but that's all right. It's still in what's called an unformatted mode here. But I'll even add in Mr. Co because Co hasn't been used yet. So you add in all of your citations like that. As soon as you press Update Citations, though, it all comes good. And then it's going to be styled according to the referencing style that you like best. Oh, I didn't mean to close that all completely. I was trying to show you the little option where you it'll show you what your favorite referencing style is. There we go. These little 3 dots. My referencing style is APA 7. There you go. Okay, I think that is probably all we need to cover here today. The last thing I'll say before I go is that if you do have a question about EndNote, you can come to our library homepage and use this Contact Us form up here. We have a chat service that you can use. There's also this ability here to ask a question. And if you have a big problem with EndNote, we can hopefully get you the answer via emailing you the steps, or if you're a staff or a PhD student, we can meet you one-on-one online or in person and work on the problem with your computer together. So hopefully that will be useful for you going forward, and hopefully this video has been too. I'm going to stop sharing now and bid you a fond farewell. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.